What's going on, guys? I recorded a video of Facebook Live earlier today talking about slumps. I wanted to re-record it after I've had some time to think on it a bit further. You got my immediate reaction earlier, but somebody posted in my Facebook group, Sales Professionals Group, online. You can find it on Facebook or salesprofessionalsgroup.com. If you're a sales pro, there's useful stuff there. Buddy had his best week ever in sales, and he was commenting, how do you get out of a slump? The implication of his post was that I'm doing really well and I know I'm gonna fall back off, and he wanted to get ahead of that game. So I sat here, just got my hair cut. I feel pretty fresh myself. Always feel way better when I make sure I get my fingernails cut, I get my hair done, make sure my beard is trimmed up properly. I feel great. I sell great. So, Deion Sanders, my first point, I want to touch on a quote from Deion Sanders. Point number 1. The quote is, look good, feel good, play good, get paid good. So, for me, my environment, the way I feel about myself, the way my vehicle, like right now, the vehicle, I got 4 kids and it's pretty clean, but I know that there's some little stuff, there's little wrappers and crumbs and things, that's part of being a dad. But I know I feel better when my environment is clean, when my workspace is clean, when I feel good and I feel clean, I feel confident. So that's the first thing. Make sure you take care of yourself, because confidence does play into it. Number 2, talked to another gentleman this morning who's going through a slump. He commented on that first Facebook Live, and actually he sent me a private message. He saw it, and he said that the timing was pretty good for the current phase of life that he's in. So, in chatting with him, he's knocking doors for sales, and he's going through these slumps, and he'll have a few bad doors and it can ruin his day. So he just keeps going and tries to get past it that way. So 2 things in regards to this. If you're doing a lot of outbound, if you're doing anything that requires you to do lots and lots of touch points, number 1, flip the frame. Instead of going for yes, go for no. Approach it from the perspective that every single no that I get is an opportunity for me to learn. Every single no that I get, it gets me closer to a yes. Every no that I get, if I treat it in such a way that it's a learning opportunity, now I have the opportunity to grow every time I get a no. So I'm going to try to clear those no's out in order to get to more yeses. The second piece to my second point is, instead of asking for the sale, instead of trying to go for the sale, you have what's called commission breath. If you've been in sales long enough, you've heard the term. Commission breath is where the energy you're giving off creates a very needy energy, and the people around you, they could definitely feel that needy energy. So instead of going for that yes, I want you to approach it from the perspective of, I need to go for no. I'm going to pull over, actually. I'm at the car wash, and I don't know how loud it's going to be once I go in there. So I'll hang out and finish this video with you guys. So you might have heard of the takeaway close, or being sort of reluctant to sell somebody something. I see all the time in my own career, and this guy's a moron. Come on, go around me, dude. No, you're a dummy. Thank you. Phenomenal job, sir. So, I digress. Point number 2 of 2 is, stop trying to get the yes. Aim for service. Money is a measure of exchanged value. This is my favorite business quote. It's my favorite sales quote. The more value I focus on giving to other people, conversationally, actually, I give up my time to people who I've never worked with and who aren't my ideal market, free advice, whatever it is. In a sales conversation, though, I can just be present. I can listen extremely well, ask phenomenal questions. I can make sure that I lead from the perspective of, I need to make sure that this is a good fit for you to buy it. When you lead and you find all these different little ways you can be valuable to somebody, and still, I don't know if it's a good idea if you should buy. I would love for you to buy. It's a great buy. This is a good fit for you from my perspective. But some of the answers to my questions today have made me wonder if now's the right time to buy. So I'll pull back from selling, and I'll give them the opportunity to sell themselves if that's what they want or need. I'm going to remove my need to sell from the equation, from the factor at all, and let them sell themselves. To touch on, point number 3, I talked about this in the live earlier. We're all just big meat sacks full of chemicals. Our emotions are literally just chemical responses, which means that our emotions are not actually real. They're real in the sense that you can observe them, but they're not real in the sense that they mean nothing to the outside world. They might mean something to your family, your kids, or your wife if you let your emotions get in the way, but an emotion is literally a chemical response. Whether that's a positive or a negative emotion. If it's a positive emotion, it's usually triggered by serotonin, dopamine, endorphins, whatever it is. Similar, there's a lot of addicts in sales. A lot of people whose personalities are naturally addictive. We find sales somehow. That's a deeper conversation, one that I love having. So happy to have that with anybody here. But transactions is kind of like playing a video game. You get the chime, you get on Facebook or social media, you get the little red notification, people like me. There's these little fake hits of emotion. So if I know that that's true, that I'm respond to these little addictive triggers, these flashes or bells and whistles, or closing a deal, or snorting a line of cocaine, whatever it is, if those things happen, then how can I create wins that are not necessarily based on closing the deal? So can you restructure your day to go after the wins? I think you can. And I think you need to train yourself that, very similar to the story of the Navy Admiral who says, make your bed in the morning, start your day with a win. Those little wins compound. So when you, as a sales professional, study your craft well enough and you plug it into a calendar and have a schedule that you follow consistently, then you're going to have your little make your bed wins every single day. You're going to have lots of reasons, lots of ways to get those little chemical responses. So what you're doing is creating a consistent chemical response. Like it or not, we're all just like Pavlov's dog. You ring the bell, you feed the dog. You ring the bell, you feed the dog. Eventually you ring the bell, the dog's mouth is watering. Well, when there's no food, that dog behaves differently. He doesn't respond, or those responses, the dog doesn't know what to do when the bell rings. It just naturally is salivating. So when you're creating a Pavlovian response for yourself by creating a consistency, and if that consistency is gamed towards your success, you're going to win more often. The next thing I would say is, I don't know if this is point 4, addition versus multiplication. A lot of people in sales, they only think, I just need my next deal. From a career perspective, that's not going to get you very far. Can you be the number one sales rep? Yes. And then that's where it stops. Even still, I would wager it's more difficult to be top dog if you're not thinking about a multiplication, or from a multiplication perspective. So, point of addition versus multiplication. One sales rep plus one door or one lead equals one sale. Not always, and yes, I understand there's more metrics to plug into these equations, but let's look at it. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Now, multiplication. one sales rep plus one lead equals 2 referrals, an insurance agent, strategic partnership, a neighborhood I can knock 6, 8, 10, 12 more doors, ends up being 1 plus 1 equals 4, 5, 6. And in some cases, it could end up being 20 or 30 deals because you found the right referral source. If you're not running your sales process and checking all the boxes of what allows you to create a permanent and sustainable relationship with the right people, then you're only thinking 1 plus 1 equals 1. You're not even thinking about the second sale from that particular person. You don't have a follow-up system in place. You don't have a sequence built, a calendar reminder 12 months from now. You don't have anything in place that's gaming your future. So a lot of salespeople are very short-sighted. I would encourage you to start thinking about your career of what actions, what literal actions can I take today that will make sure I sell 2 jobs for every person I speak to. If you think about it that way, you will consistently do things that prevent slumps and or reduce the impact of the slumps in the future. So anyway, there's 4 points plus some fluff around it to explain it, but preventing slumps, it can be prevented. You will go through them. Even if you're the absolute top dog, you're gonna go through them because you're human. Having a natural response and a way to combat them, a way to think about them proactively, is gonna get you a lot further in your career. So think about it from that place. Hope you guys have a phenomenal day. Don't forget, you can find Sales Professionals Group on Facebook, and we also have salesprofessionalsgroup.com that's being developed now. There's some stuff there already that you'll find useful. So appreciate you guys. Hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day, and reach out if you need anything.